From Neural Newscast, this is Nerfed, where games, culture, and strategy intersect.
Nerfed, the death of the disc. I am Vanessa Calderon.
And I'm Marcus Shaw. Strap in, because the industry is moving fast, and it's breaking a lot of things we used to love this week.
No kidding, Marcus. We're starting with the heavy hitter. Sony just officially put a timer on physical media. According to a blog post reported by Ars Technica, Sony will stop making physical discs for PlayStation games as of January 2028. From that point on, new games are digital only. It is a seismic shift for the hobby. We're talking about the end of 40 years of physical PlayStation history. This isn't just a minor update to the supply chain, it's a fundamental change in how we collect and interact with games. By the start of 2028, your local game store won't have new releases on the shelf because there won't be any discs to stock. It's the total transformation of the industry into a service-first economy, where the concept of a game library is tied entirely to a server handshake and a platform holder's whims.
It's a massive shift, Vanessa. But look at the numbers Sony provided. Digital downloads hit 78% of full game purchases last fiscal year. They're calling it a natural direction, but for those of us who like actually owning our games, it feels more like a forced march into a licensing-only model. When you look at that 78% figure, it tells a very specific story about consumer behavior, but it also reflects how much Sony and other publishers have incentivized digital purchases over physical ones. They've spent years making digital the most convenient option, and now they're using those resulting statistics to justify killing the disc entirely. We are losing the secondary market, we are losing the ability to borrow a game from a neighbor, and we are losing the tangible connection to our media. It's convenient for them, certainly, because it eliminates manufacturing, shipping, and the used game market in one fell swoop.
Exactly. And let's be real, Sony's track record with digital libraries isn't exactly pristine. They've already pulled Studio Canal movies and Funimation content from libraries people supposedly owned. Hideo Kojima even took to social media to say he's afraid of becoming a have-not when access to art can be cut off by a server shutdown. When a creator as influential as Kojima expresses concern, people should listen. He's highlighting a terrifying future where art is ephemeral. If you don't have a physical copy, you don't actually own the art. You just have a temporary permission slip to access it. If the license expires or the company decides it's no longer profitable to host those files, your access vanishes. We've seen it happen with movies, and now the same threat is hanging over the entire PlayStation catalog as we move toward 2028.
Kojima has a point. Remember PT? Once it was delisted, it was just gone. If there's no physical copy, the platform holder holds all the cards. It becomes a form of digital gatekeeping that can effectively erase gaming history. But wait, Microsoft might actually have a solution for this, or at least a band-aid. They seem to be aware of the backlash this digital-only future is generating, and they are exploring ways to bridge the gap between our physical past and a diskless future. It's a complex problem, but they are clearly looking for a way to maintain some level of consumer trust as they transition their own hardware away from optical drives.
You mean the disc-to-digital rumors? Tell me, Marcus, is this actually happening or just tech bro wishful thinking? Because it sounds like a logistical nightmare to verify those discs without creating a massive secondary market loophole that the publishers would absolutely hate. The Verge is reporting that Microsoft is internally testing a feature that lets you insert a physical disc to grant a digital entitlement to your account. It's tied to the specific disc, so if you sell it or lend it to a friend, you lose the digital copy. It seems essential if the rumors about their next-gen console, Project Helix, being disc-free are true. The system would essentially scan a unique identifier on the disc and link it to your gamer tag. If that same disc is scanned by another account later on, the original entitlement is revoked. It's a high-tech solution to ensure you can still play your old library on new hardware that doesn't have a drive, but it still leaves us in a position where we are dependent on Microsoft servers to validate our physical media. It's better than nothing, but it's a far cry from the independence of a traditional disc. So I trade my plastic for a permission slip? Bold strategy. Though it's hard to get excited about Project Helix when the rest of Xbox is currently on fire. Marcus, have you seen the reports about this Xbox reset? It feels like the entire division is being restructured from the ground up, and not in a way that benefits the players. We are seeing a complete retreat from the aggressive expansion strategy they've been following for the last 5 years, and the fallout is starting to look catastrophic for several high-profile studios.
It's grim, Vanessa. Polygon and Bloomberg are painting a picture of a total bloodbath. CEO Asha Sharma is looking to cut costs after revenue dipped $500 million despite $20 billion in investments. We're talking about potential closures for Arkane Lyon, Undead Labs, Ninja Theory, and Compulsion Games. It is a staggering list of talent. We are looking at the possibility of losing the developers behind some of the most unique voices in the industry. Microsoft spent years buying up these studios to secure content for Game Pass, and now that the growth has slowed, they are looking at these teams as liabilities rather than assets. It's a cold, hard look at the reality of the subscription model. If you aren't driving massive numbers of new signups, your studio might not survive the next fiscal review.
It is honestly heartbreaking. Arkane Lyon is working on Marvel's Blade, but now there are rumors that game might be canceled because it's over budget and slipping to 2027. Even Undead Labs, who just showed off State of Decay 3 weeks ago, is reportedly on the chopping block if Microsoft can't find a buyer. This creates such a sense of instability for the fans. How can you get excited for a game like State of Decay 3 when you don't even know if the studio will exist by the time it launches? It feels like the Xbox reset is less of a strategic pivot and more of a desperate attempt to stop the bleeding, even if it means sacrificing the very studios that were supposed to define the brand's future.
And the pain doesn't stop at the studios. Console prices are jumping as much as $150 on August 1st. Saying an Xbox Series 10 is going to set you back $800. It feels like they're trying to price people out of hardware entirely to force them into Game Pass, except they just pulled Modern Warfare 4 from Game Pass too. This price hike is unprecedented this late in a console's life cycle. Usually prices go down, not up. But Microsoft is facing massive pressure to make the hardware division profitable, and they are passing those costs directly to the consumer. At $800, a console is no longer a mass-market toy. It's a luxury item. And when you combine that with the removal of top-tier titles like Modern Warfare 4 from their own service, the value proposition is getting harder and harder to justify for the average player.
The sarcasm writes itself, Marcus. This is an Xbox. Unless it's too expensive to buy, has no discs, and your favorite studio just got dissolved. It's a reset, all right. Resetting the player's trust to zero. It's hard to see the vision right now. They've moved away from the idea of being the most consumer-friendly platform and toward a model that feels increasingly restrictive and expensive. If you're a fan who has stayed loyal to the brand through the lean years, this feels like a slap in the face. You're being asked to pay more for less, all while watching the studios you love get dismantled in real time.
The only bright spot this week is Robert Bowling, the former Infinity Ward strategist. He's launching a new studio called 18.Bravo with a radically different approach. He's promising no live service treadmills and optimized P2P architecture, so games can be played forever, even if the studio closes. Bowling is positioning this as a direct response to the volatility we're seeing at companies like Microsoft and Sony. By building games that don't rely on centralized servers, he's ensuring that the players actually own what they buy. It's a return to a more traditional development philosophy, where the focus is on a finished, self-sustaining product, rather than a never-ending service that can be switched off at any time.
The best part? He's writing it into the studio bylaws that if they shut down, the code becomes open source. That is the kind of gamer-first energy we need right now when the giants are just looking for ways to take things away from us. It's a powerful statement about preservation and corporate responsibility. If every studio followed this model, we wouldn't have to worry about the death of the disc or the loss of digital libraries. The games would belong to the community. It's an idealistic vision for sure, but in a week full of grim news about shutdowns and price hikes,
It's refreshing to see someone trying to build a more sustainable and respectful relationship with the audience.
It's a hell of a mission statement. We'll see if it holds up in the AAA world. But right now, it's the only thing that doesn't feel like a corporate land grab. If 18.Bravo can deliver a high-quality experience while sticking to these principles, they could set a new standard for the industry. It's a long shot, given how the market usually rewards the giants, but it provides a glimmer of hope that there is another way to do things that doesn't involve stripping away player rights. We'll be watching them closely to see if this philosophy can survive the pressures of modern development.
Well, while we wait for the 2028 disk apocalypse, I guess we better start clearing some SSD space. That's the news for this week. I am Vanessa Calderon.
And I'm Marcus Shaw. For more context on the shift to digital, head over to Nerfed.ai. Thanks for listening to Nerfed. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.
This has been Nerfed on Neural Newscast, where games, culture, and strategy intersect.